Postpartum hits every woman differently, depending on your mental preparedness, your support, really how much you're gonna surrender, how patient you are. I am 8.5 weeks postpartum with my second child. I have a 2.5-year-old son who's around here in his monster truck trying to come find me. And I have a beautiful 8.5-week-old daughter, baby girl. First time around, I knew that going into motherhood, like 0 to 1 is really hard, right? Going from 1 to 2 is hard in a different way because you're already a mother. So 0 to 1 is the hardest, I think, because you don't know what it's like to be a mom. You don't realize that your life literally changes overnight. You have a mini you, everywhere you go. The sleep deprivation, the no time to yourself. And sure, you will have time to yourself, but it's not like you can just pick up and go, right? So the first time around, the sleep deprivation was the hardest part for me, and I knew that going into it. The second part that was hard for me the first time around was that I went back to work. I was on maternity leave. I went back to work when my son was 10 weeks old. I did have somebody come to my house that I found, but that was still hard because then my milk supply dried up and I was no longer breastfeeding the way that I intended to breastfeed for an entire year. So those things were really hard on me. Now for the second postpartum, I already knew going into it what the sleep would look like. So, that part, it is what it is. I am sleep deprived. I'm really tired every day, all the time. However, it's not bogging me down like it was before. I wake up and I know I have to do it, right? I have a 2-year-old son. I gotta do it. My husband also takes our son for the first hour and a half of the day, most mornings. So that gives me that extra, time to sleep in with our daughter. Here's the part that's been a little challenging. And this is the part that most people don't really talk about, is that in the beginning, your 4th trimester, the first 40 days, 5 weeks, I don't want to say it's easy, but you could do anything for a week. You can do anything for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, right? It's like in a workout. It's a 30-minute workout. It's an hour workout. You can do an hour workout. You can do it, 4th trimester, great. But here's the part that when it sets in, and the 2nd month comes, and the 3rd month comes, and things don't let up, right? And your body hasn't changed back to what you're used to. Your clothes don't fit the same, and you're already 3 months in, 4 months in, right? And your energy hasn't come back the same. You're still sleep deprived. You haven't gotten the hang of your new routine. You're busy in other ways. Now you have 2. You're constantly being needed. It can become overwhelming. So check on your friends, not in just the very beginning, but in the middle, right? Like month 2 and 3, when it just sets in that all right, this is the new normal. And that can kind of put women in a downward spiral. So the postpartum blues, in my opinion, they don't come right off the bat. It sets in the midst. It's kind of like a relationship, right? In the beginning, it's the honeymoon phase. You have a baby. It's the honeymoon phase. Your oxytocin's way up here. You're so excited. You're so happy. Everyone's in love, checking in on you. Your village is showing up. People are dropping off food. And then month 2, month 3, month 4, 5 set in, right? And then things kind of settle, dust settles. Hold on, mom life calling me over here. That's the time where you really need to hone in. I'm in that right now. And there's days where I'm in a mood, I'm in a funk. And my friends call me and I'm honest, right? My husband will communicate to me hey babe, what's going on, right? And I ask for what I need. Or I get ahead of the game and I empower myself. So yesterday, I did my makeup after I woke up. My daughter was sleeping for a little bit, so I had the opportunity to put some makeup on, do my hair nice and pretty. That made me feel good, right? The other thing I did was that when she took her longest nap, not on me, because my back kills me at the end of the day when I'm wearing this thing for more than an hour or 2 at a time, is that when my son was sleeping and she was sleeping and I had that time, yes, I could have napped. I could have sat and scrolled. I could have done many things. But you know what I did instead? I chose to meal prep. Why? Because I know that my brain can feel settled and at peace when I get ahead of the game. When I get ahead of laundry, when I get ahead of the meals and the cooking, so that everything becomes easier the rest of the week. I could have totally just kicked back and relaxed. but I did that the previous day with my daughter. I napped with her. So you got to pick and choose, you know, what days of the week work best for you, because if you're the woman of the house and you're doing all the things, cooking, the cleaning, managing the kids, like right now, that's the season I'm in and I love it and I'm so grateful to have it. But you have to, you know, compartmentalize, okay, when do I need to do what so that I can also make sure that I'm getting my rest in, right? So I'm not like thinking about every single day what I have to do, right? For all my female doers out there. So that's been challenging. It's the middle. It's when the dust settles. It's when you realize like, all right, this is it now. This is it. Like we're in it. So check on your friends, share with them it's okay. And that's the other thing. A lot of women don't want to talk about it. They'll just say everything's great on the outside, but on the inside, they're struggling. They want to break down in tears. I've broken down a couple of times and my son will come up to me and say, Mommy, don't be sad. Although I'm so grateful for my children. Mom moment, hold on. You know, the first time around, I didn't understand that the first year of a baby's life, honestly, the first 6 months for sure, up to a year, it's really all on the mom. And this came into play, especially for the overnights, when it occurred to me that I was like, hold on, I'm the only one that's getting up here. I have to be the one all the time to like be sleep deprived every day and then go back to work. That was the toughest part. I was going back to work, working, and I still had, you know, my son was waking up a couple times in the night. It was so hard. But what I realized was that now as a second time mom, yes, it is all on the mom, and that's okay. You know, you can't make a father try to be equal to a mother when it's the mother's pheromones and bond that the baby knows. The baby didn't live in dad's body for 10 months. He lived in your body for 10 months. So no wonder the baby wants you. No wonder the baby calms down when you're the one holding him or her. And it's a beautiful blessing to have that, you know, opportunity to console your child, to nurture them, and to fall into your feminine, to fall into your mothering, right? But if you don't honestly realize that, you're going to create an unnecessary resentment towards your husband and, you know, have this, you know, unequal balance that it's not supposed to be. Like, he has his role and he can chime in as needed the first year. But really, if you have older kids, he can help with the older kids, right? Will you help the baby and the newborn? So that's been easier the second time around, kind of already knowing that ahead of time. Doing right now to support myself is feeding myself a high protein diet, hydrating myself with all the electrolytes and coconut water, taking my postpartum supplements for hormone balance, right? And I'm nursing my daughter. We are exclusively breastfeeding. I've only given her a bottle when I left the house by myself twice. So that's nothing to be like, yay, hooray, super proud of. It just is what it is. It's my choice, right? Everyone's choices are theirs. It doesn't make you better or less than somebody else or another mom out there. You're doing the best you can for you and your mental health and the well-being of your family, period. Nothing else to it, whether you're breastfeeding or formula. All right, now as we wrap up this outdoor walk with my son and me chatting with you, I hope some of those things I shared were helpful. It just keeps it real and gives you a realistic validation and perspective and insight into all the things, right? And these are just some of the things that I'm sure I'm just scratching the surface, but at least for me and me being in it right now, and that I have the cognitive ability to bring forth, because look, your girl is still pregnancy brain, postpartum brain, sleep deprived brain, and I'm managing many things at the same time while I'm talking to you, like my son who's ready to go inside. It's pretty hot out here in this Florida humidity. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you feel seen. I hope you know that you feel you are loved and that all the things that you're doing are appreciated. You are in the thick of it. You are walking through the fire, and every time you walk across fire, you become an entirely new person on the other side of that, right? You are a phoenix rising again, because postpartum is a time for transformation, for evolution, for the 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whatever 0.0 version you are transforming into your new version of self. It is that. So yes, it is cloudy, it is messy, it is all the things, but you are emerging into a new version of you And you get to decide who that version is. You get to decide every morning when you wake up, yes, I'm tired, yes, I'm overwhelmed, yes, I'm overly stimulated, but what choice do I make as the co-creator of my life? You know, God gave us free will. Things don't just happen to you because he's letting them happen to you. He gave you free will for you to be a creator and write the pen in the story of your life. So take hold of that pen, decide where you want to put the ink, how much you want to write, what you want to write. And don't let the things happening to you affect your ability to create what you want. Take hold, be grounded. You are always in control, right, of yourself. Surrender to everything else.